Hello.
Is it Brandon?
Hey, fellas.
How you doing?
How are you?
Hey, what's going on?
We're good.
Same old, same
man,
old.
let me see.
Hey, you're in Austin.
Sir?
You're here in Austin?
I'm
local.
in the capital city.
You are the first Austin caller of the day, so welcome.
Ta-da! However, I am a believer.
Okay.
And I just kind of, let me just say, I listen to you guys every Sunday. And a lot of times I don't call, sometimes I do. I think this is maybe the third time I've called out of maybe the hundreds of times that I've listened to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I do love intelligent conversation. I just love, I'm a lover of conversation. Okay, let me just get that
we're
out.
in the same boat there, brother.
And I was listening to a couple of calls, especially starting with the young lady from, was it Belfast?
Yes.
That's right.
And I think the call after him, and I just kind of took a few notes. And one of the things I wanted to say is that everybody's zealous for something, not just Christians. It seems that the attitude is that Christians are they're the only ones that want to impose their beliefs on you. I think everyone wants to impose something on someone. To tell you the truth, guys, I think impose is the wrong word to use. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like you guys are on TV and you're preaching your message. That's your message that you're preaching, that,
Right.
hey,
Well,
we're
I think you have
atheists.
to draw the distinction between the kinds of people who want to impose and people who are simply out there speaking their minds with passion and conviction. I mean, there's probably not so many folks out there who want to do the impose my beliefs thing, although there certainly are some, and they tend to be the ones that give all the rest of the crowd a bad name, whatever crowd they represent.
Right.
And certainly we don't mean to imply that we think Christians are the only people out there being zealous about stuff. I mean, there's certainly enough Islamic suicide bombers out there to make that certainly a false assumption. And there are people of any sort of, whether you have ideological fixations on some sort of political belief or philosophy or what have you, whether you could be libertarian, this, that, or the other. If anybody can get passionate enough about anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't confuse passion for zealotry, and I'd also say that we need to be distinct on this idea of imposition. I would never act to legislate my personal beliefs onto other people. I would never act in such. I would never encourage or support legislation that made, for example, religious worship illegal. I'm in a position where, yes, I would like to possibly change people's minds, although it's not necessarily, the only motivation for doing this. But that's an exercise of free speech, an exercise where somebody's following their conscience. But I would never impose my beliefs on anybody. My position is that our government was founded as a secular government and should return to being a secular government where neutrality is the rule with regard to religion.
It's all in the hands of the individual citizen, how they choose to worship or not,
Yeah.
what faith or belief or practice or church they wish to belong to and follow.
Right.
And
I mean, I don't mean to cut you guys off. I want to be respectful to you, just as I would want you to be respectful to me.
Well, we thought that was a good point you brought up, though, was that to clarify all those concepts.
I'm sorry?
I said, but we thought that the reason we responded to you just then was because we thought that was a good point you brought up. The whole,
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, because I'm trying to be respectful of y'all's time, because I know you guys got a lot of people.
No,
that
take
wanna
some
talk.
more time. Go ahead.
Seriously, no. Talk about what you want.
We took some of yours. You can have more.
Yeah. Now go ahead.
Well, I mean, like I said, I just wanted to say, that everybody's zealous for something. I just wanted to point that out. And then another thing I wanted to say is that respect is conditional. I mean, a lot of times we hear everyone, be it Christian, be it non-Christian, whatever you are, we're always saying, let's do something, let's talk in a respectful manner. However, it's conditional as so long as you believe what I believe, there'll be respect.
No.
Well, hang on.
Can I tell you why I feel like that?
Sure,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, please.
Okay, the reason why I feel like that is because I have been listening, and just hear me out, fellas, just hear me out. The reason why I say that the respect that you guys have is conditional is because there have been a lot of half-truths, not even half-truths. There have been a lot of slanderous things made about believers, like some of the statements you guys made. Come on, man. It's like,
tell me one.
I mean,
Like
this is to me. I'm just let me get this out. If I was listening to you guys' conversation about believers, I would think that all believers are, I must believe in God, kind of like the Borg on Star Trek. You know what I'm saying? It seems to me that's how you guys present Christians, as we believe in God. You must be assimilated. You know, and
that's a good Borg voice.
I don't think that that's respect.
Well,
because that's not the truth.
Well, since I was the guy I think who was given an opinion on that earlier. Let me go ahead and respond to that, because I think that is a point that where a lot of, and it's a problem sometimes of clarity on either side, right? When I talk about certain, I always try to be careful. And when I give examples, to make sure that I'm not throwing the blanket out completely wide and covering it and tarring an entire group with a big broad brush. For example, earlier I spoke about Christians who are so wrapped up in their beliefs that it's a matter of the self-esteem issue, where without the belief they feel that they have no self-worth. Now I didn't mean to imply that I think perhaps 100% of Christians are that way, but that was an example that I gave in response to the caller from Canada, who was talking about a woman. This was a specific individual who had a certain reaction to him describing himself as an atheist, and so I tried to respond by saying, okay, now with that reaction, what you're seeing is this kind of symptom. Now I didn't get to toss it in because Matt was talking about it, and we want to we never get to mention everything we have in our minds on these calls. But I've talked to a lot of believers, and I've said, well, I'm an atheist, and some of them have gone slack-jawed with horror, but most of them are like, really, you're an atheist? Wow! So and they don't have the horrified reaction, and they and it opens up a conversation at which so clearly I don't think that all of the believers that I've ever met. I mean, my parents are Christian, my neighbors are Christian, and certainly they're not all certainly the same kind of person. They're individual personalities differ in any sort of group. But so I try to be specific, but sometimes you're not always as clear as you'd like to be, and that's something that maybe we are, and everyone should be more careful about in their conversation.
And while there is some caution in that area, quite frankly, it's not completely our fault. When you have thousands of denominations that run around all using the Christian label, it's not my job to distinguish between each one of them. If I say something about Christianity in a general sense, it's probably either directed at some specific belief, and if it doesn't fit you or if it doesn't fit somebody else, then clearly I wasn't talking about you. Like, for example, in your case, do you think that I'm going to go to hell when I die?
Based on the Bible, I would have to say yes.
Okay, do you think I deserve that?
I would have to say yes.
Okay, then I think that you have a very immoral outlook, and while you are a much more reasonable person with regard to conversation, and I respect your right to hold those beliefs, I don't respect the beliefs themselves.
Yes, sir.
And frankly, I don't know that you're that far off from some of the same ideas from the quote-unquote Borg Christians that I would be opposed to, because when this idea of eternal punishment and damnation that is in there, along with the concepts of original sin and these other things, that establishes a moral system that I find completely immoral, and I'm confused as to how reasonable people who probably otherwise evaluate things similarly to me can accept this as truth and that it is just.
Yeah, because essentially what it does is it states as a positive moral idea, this notion of not only eternal punishment for finite crimes, shall we say, but even to the point that those crimes simply involve not believing in the right God, or not belonging to the right denomination or faith or what have you. It says that you deserve this eternity of punishment regardless of your achievements during your lifetime, regardless of how you may have been a credit to your community or your culture or your country or your or the people that you knew or what have you. Nothing that you do ultimately matters, except that you are following a particularly prescribed faith.
May I interject this?
Let me hit one thing, and then I promise I'll let you talk. I found something curious with your answer when I asked you, and that was that both of your responses were qualified yes, and that you said, based on the Bible, I'd have to say such.
Yes.
I don't mean to necessarily psychoanalyze you, but I think that actually betrays what your real feelings are as to whether or not this is just. And I'd like to point out that there are plenty of Christians, including Billy Graham, who, despite being Bible believers, reject the notion of hell.
Okay, can I?
Yeah, your turn.
Go.
Okay, I'm sorry. When I said based on the Bible, I guess the reason why I said that is because I'm a believer, and I have accepted the Bible as unadulterated truth, and and I believe the same thing. I mean, Matt, I see a lot of times, especially your whole thesis thing is just tell me why you believe. It's not about arguing. It's not about saying what's wrong and what's right. I just want to know why you believe in something that is far-fetched to me. Am I correct in basically summing it up like that?
Yeah.
Okay. And all I can do, really is just tell you why me, as a rational thinker, I like to say I have some intelligence. I'm not all intelligent, but I have some intelligence.
I'm sure you're plenty intelligent. Yeah. But yeah, if you would give the why, I'd love to hear it. And if you don't want to discuss it beyond the why,
yes,
I'm fine with that too.
Okay. First off, when it breaks down, starting with Jesus. I've been a believer for about 4 years now. Mm-hmm. And prior to that, I was raised in the church as a young one. Of course, got up, got grown and did my own thing like we all do.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And I personally came to this place where, I was looking at myself and I was examining myself, and yes, I will share with you, I was unhappy with the life that I was living, as far as not the quality of it, but the immorality of my life. Mm-hmm. Because whether you're atheist or whether you're Christian, we all know when we do wrong. You do. I believe that everybody knows when you do wrong. And the Bible says that the Gentile doesn't have the law, but he has it inside of him. You know what I'm saying? Basically, Paul's developing that argument.
Right, in Romans, God has written his law on the heart so that no man is without excuse.
Right, just because you don't have the law doesn't mean that you don't know that there is law. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
I'm sorry. So basically, I'm trying to get it all out because I want y'all to get some other callers.
No,
that's fine.
It's good. No, keep going.
Basically, when I examine the evidence of Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ is on trial. He's on trial with every one of us. That's the way I look at it. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the trial, you have to declare him three things. You have to declare him Lord,
liar, or lunatic.
Or a liar.
Yeah, C.S. Lewis.
Right.
And there's a fourth option, by the way, legend.
Or legend. Exactly. Okay, I'll give you that.
But
I chose Lord, and I'm still choosing Lord because it's not, Christianity is not, here's that word, we have to say religion. Because when I say religion and you say religion, we may have two different meanings to what that word means. You know what I'm saying? So I'll use the word relationship so we won't get anything twisted or we won't get confused as to what we're saying.
Sure, you're going to divorce your personal relationship with Jesus, your view of Christianity. You're divorcing that from organized religion and standard views of religion. I got you.
I'm saying that, this is what I'm saying in a nutshell. I'm saying that I have a relationship with Jesus based on the fact that I believe that he did live the life that he lived, death, burial, resurrection, and that he died on the cross for my sins. Because I heard that it was said that one of you guys, maybe it was the caller or you two guys, I don't know which one it was, I was taking notes as I was listening.
Mm-hmm. That's okay.
And someone said Jesus sends people to hell for not loving him. That's inaccurate. And I want to clear that up. God sends people to hell for their sins.
Isn't Jesus God?
Yeah.
Jesus is God. Yes.
Is it
So there you go.
Is it a sin? Is it not the only unforgivable sin to not love God?
Yes, that's the only.
Then I'm right. Then God is sending people to hell for not loving Him.
Let me get this out.
Okay.
I mean, okay.
Yeah.
I think we're all aware of the O.J. Simpson trial. I think everybody, blacks, whites,
one?
it doesn't matter what color you were.
The
I
new
think
one or the
everybody
old one?
was
He's
outraged
probably
that
the
he
old.
got off.
Yeah, he's probably the old
because everybody was like, he did it, and that was not just. And I hear you guys speaking that. Well, what about let me just throw Oprah Winfrey out there. She's a very prominent figure. Everybody knows who she is. She does a lot of great things for people.
Yeah, Brandon, I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt you, but it does seem now that you're kind of starting to go around on tangents, and so maybe if you could try to focus your thoughts to a point.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And here's the thing. Maybe this will help. Maybe it won't. I was looking for the reason why you believe, and so far, all you've said is what you believe. You believe that Jesus lived the life that is recorded, but you haven't said anything about why you believe. The closest thing you've done. No, that's fine. I'm just saying the closest thing that you've done, and I'd be happy to address this at a different time, is to say that we all have some, or appear to have, some sense of morality, and since the Bible says God's written His code on everybody's heart, you tied the two together and accepted that it's true. I'm just wondering if that's the totality of your reason, or if there's actually more.
Well, I once again, forgive me, because I'm trying to force everything out, and sometimes when you do that, you're going to make some mistakes.
That's
so
fine. Yeah.
Please forgive me.
No. That's fine. We're just trying to we want to kind of get you to the.
And I am. I was
point.
rambling.
I
did
got
go on a
18
tangent,
minutes
so
left
I'm
on
sorry
other
for that.
callers, so go ahead.
Yeah.
Basically, why I believe is I see his. I'm in a relationship with him. It's just like you and maybe someone you have a relationship with. I can't really comment on your relationship because I'm not a part of that relationship. You may say, "Oh, Susie loves me," or "John loves me," and but I can't say no, he doesn't. No, Susie doesn't love you. No, John doesn't love you, because there are personal things that I've seen in my life that he's done in my life that only he could do, that has made me declare him the Lord that he is over my life.
Give an example of one thing that only Jesus can do that you could not do. That is specifically taken place in your life.
Okay. Well, let's see. I got a lot, but
Well, just give us the best one.
well, the best one is I honestly I was a lot like Paul in the Bible. I had no taste for Christianity. I had no want for it, no desire for it. A lot like Matt.
Actually, that's nothing like me. I was raised a Baptist. I was a fundamentalist Christian, and the reason I'm an atheist today is because I decided that I had perhaps been running away from a call to the ministry, and decided to go ahead and study. And my purpose in studying was to counter atheist arguments, to become a better witness, to lead more people to Jesus. I was not anything at all like Saul.
Okay, I maybe I'm saying that because now you are like Saul to a degree.
Okay, so instead of going Saul to Paul, I went Paul to Saul. Gotcha.
Right. And that's why I'm using that analogy with you.
Except that I'm not running around persecuting Christians. I'm just trying to get them to stop persecuting everybody else.
Okay. Well, back to what the gentleman in the black asked me.
Martin.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Okay. Basically, like you, I
You weren't interested in Christianity. Got it. Okay.
Right.
So
and based on the scriptures, it's really hard to get someone to understand. It's kind of hard to get you to understand when you're on the outside looking in on something. And basically, I can just tell you the little things that God does for me each and every day. I've experienced answered prayer. Let's just throw that one out. I've experienced answered prayer.
Like what?
Like just praying for basic things like, hey, if this doesn't come through, Lord, I'm in trouble. Something like that.
And the only way it could have possibly come through is intervention from a God.
Yes.
I mean, it couldn't have just happened any other way?
Or it couldn't have been something that you were working towards that, came together through your efforts?
maybe to, the outside looking in, but once again, I mean, I believe that God is the source of all good things in my life.
So it sounds to me, and this is just to try and sum this up, and I'd be happy, because we're almost out of time, I'd be happy to have you call back in any other week and continue the conversation. But it sounds to me like what you're saying, that when Martin asked for the one thing that Jesus did for you that couldn't have been accomplished in another way, evidently your only answer was that Jesus made you go from not particularly caring much about Christianity to caring.
That was I'm sorry. The one biggest thing, if you want the one biggest thing, Matt, is he saved me from the penalty of my sins. That's the biggest thing that I can be saved from.
How do you know? How do you know that there's a penalty, and how do you know that you've been saved?
I know because here it is, and I know you guys are going to laugh because I heard.
Laugh.
No, we won't laugh. Just tell us.
It's by faith that faith are the hands that grab the promises of God.
So basically you're saying you believe it without any evidence and you don't need to.
Well, there's plenty of evidence.
What evidence? That's what I'm asking.
That's what we've been trying to get at all this time.
All right, and for me the evidence is when I look at, and it's nothing new, guys. This is nothing new. When I look at the earth, when I look at creation, when I look at the beauty of creation, when I look at the creativity of a zebra who has stripes that are they're like fingerprints. No zebra has the same stripes. When I look at that intricate creativity, it points to an intelligent creator.
Okay, here we go. Yeah. So when you look at the birds, look at the trees.
And so you don't think that this is anything that could have possibly occurred by natural?
No. To me, and this is just me, fellas, it is idiotic to assume that looking at you guys, as intelligent as you are, as you are the crown of God's creation, to believe that atoms and quasars and all that stuff could explode together and bring forth all that we have. That, to me, is idiotic.
Except that we have explanations for a lot of how those things goes on.
Yeah.
And your position puts you in the problem of saying, okay, well, where did that creator come from? Okay, I mean, who created that thing? I mean, whatever creative force or whatever deity, and in your opinion, it is a deity. It's a God who is anthropomorphic. He has human qualities. He has human desires, needs, angers, goals. He has a very human personality. Like us, if we required a creator, due to the various complexities of our natures, then clearly that creator would have required one as well. So, what created that creator? Right. So
and also, I mean, there's the absurdity of. I don't think this is a problem for everybody, including myself. We are really bad about grasping vastness. When you actually get to realizing how insignificant we are, and our planet is, and our solar system is, and even our galaxy is within the span of the universe, it's absurd to make these claims that we are this high exalted special creation of God. 1,000,000 seconds is about 11.5 days. 1 billion seconds, and all we did was change the M to a B, is about 32 years. And 1 trillion, I mean, that's just one step further, is about 32,000 years.
Right.
These are things that people don't really grasp because it's million, billion, trillion. It's like
they're just numbers at that point.
Our deficit's only 10 trillion.
Right.
Well, would you rather be in jail for 11.5 days or for 32,000 years?
Right.
This is something John Allen Paulus has brought up over and over again with regard to innumeracy. I see what you're saying, and
I think that what you're doing is what we talked about earlier. You want to make the universe comprehensible by projecting yourself, your humanity upon it. It's what people have been doing for millennia. There's nothing really new about that.
I understand that, but I could also tell you and turn around and say the opposite to you, that you're trying to do the opposite.
What
and then
opposite?
We just go
Yes, I'm trying to do the opposite.
Yes, I'm trying to do the opposite because I don't think the universe is about me.
I'm trying to do the exact opposite. I'm trying to factually figure out what answer is most likely correct, and I am not going to be accepting answers that don't have evidence and reason to support them.
Okay.
And I'm not going to be accepting answers that simply flatter my sense of need.
Faith is not a useful tool for discerning truth.
I say this. The reason that I'm talking to you is not to get you to accept what I'm saying. You asked me
I know,
Why
I know.
believe-
We were looking for your reasons,
Right.
and now what we're doing is we're just giving your opinions of our opinions of
Right.
of
Right.
the explanations you've given us
And
to explain
then-
why we disagree.
Okay. And then one last thing, and I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go.
right.
Like
Okey-doke.
Matt, you say that you were a believer, and
Yes.
upon deeper study, you were like, okay, this is nonsense. I reject this.
Yes.
To me, by definition, you're not even an atheist. You're living in rebellion.
See, once saved, always saved, so I'm safe, right?
No, because this is what I say, and I'm only saying this to you because I know you know Scripture. And there's a passage in the Bible where Jesus told the Pharisees, he said, "You search the Scriptures diligently because you think they give you life, but you don't come to me." And I would say that you were never a Christian.
Okay, you're not alone, and you know what? I've had family and friends tell me that. And if your definition of Christian is someone who had a personal relationship with Jesus, then I'll agree. I was never a Christian. But the reason I'll agree is because I don't think you're a Christian either, and I don't think anybody's a Christian by that definition, because I don't believe he exists to have a personal relationship with.
I understand.
And when you talked about being able to assess my relationship with, let's say, Susie, and how much you wouldn't be able to comment on how much Susie loves me, the fact of the matter is I can introduce you to Susie.
Right.
You can meet Susie and talk to Susie. It's not like I'm saying I have an invisible friend named Susie and she loves me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
They-
faith can introduce you to Jesus.
Yes, faith. You know what else faith can do?
What's that?
Anything.
Yeah, faith can make you crash an airplane into the World Trade Center.
But
Faith
you-
can make you do all kinds of crazy nonsense.
Faith is the ability to believe something without evidence support it, and in spite of evidence to the contrary.
Yes.
You believe that you are the special creation of God despite the evidence for the Big Bang cosmology, for evolution by natural selection, for the vastness of the universe, for the fact that 99.999999999% of the universe could not support human life, and yet you think all of this was created for you.
No, that's
That's
not what
faith.
I said, Matt.
That's
Matt,
faith.
Let me clear that up, Matt.
Okay.
That's not what I said. I say that man is the cherry on top of God's creation. And the
Okay.
reason why I say that is because you and I, we can think, we have a will, we can do things that your dog can't do, your cow can't do. That's why I
My
say
dog can
that
do things
we
I can't
are the
do.
prize of God's creation, because we're the only ones that can interact with God on the level that He
How do
is.
you know? How do you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm doing it.
What about the rest of the universe besides our pale blue dot?
Yeah,
Now,
I mean,
what
how do we
about
know
it?
that there isn't other life out there that is higher than us? What makes you think that we're the pinnacle of anything?
And if you do think we're the pinnacle of anything, then you're agreeing with me that the rest of the universe was essentially created for us. We're the pinnacle.
I agree.
Okay.
Well, then I think that you're doing what I described. You think the universe
Yeah.
is about us, about you, and
I
you
mean-
are projecting yourself upon it.
You take
To comprehend
I'm going to go ahead and let you go, Brandon. I apologize because I'm going to actually talk about you after I let you go.
But we enjoyed having your call, and
Yes,
call us back and email us.
Call back anytime. You take exception to my statement about the absurdity of thinking that the universe was created for you, with you in mind, and then after saying you disagree with it, then you say you agree with it. You accuse us of misrepresenting Christianity and then lying by saying that Jesus sends people to hell for not loving Him, and then when pressed, the fact of the matter is you believe Jesus is God, God sends people to hell, God sends people to hell for sins, and the greatest sin of all is not loving Him. So I was right in the first place.
Yeah, I mean,
If you'd actually listen to what I say
Yeah.
and concentrate on the objections that are being raised and not try to color them with the glasses of faith, that's where my particular pursuit of defending Christianity took a turn. I actually cared whether or not my beliefs were true. I actually cared whether or not they could be justified. I wanted to investigate them, and I wanted to be as objective and fair about the analysis of evidence as I could.
not just whether or not the beliefs you had,
We're comfortable.
or reinforce something that you had already
Yeah.
decided you wanted to be true, in order to make yourself feel special about your place in the universe.
That said, if you're happy with who you are, great. If conversations with us has made you a stronger or better Christian, great. My only concern with people's religious beliefs are in how they affect other decisions they make, especially those decisions that affect other people. Not only are you entitled, but there's absolutely nothing we could do to change what the dictates of your conscience are. my concern and the reason that I would advocate more and more people embracing reason and evidence and realizing that faith is not a tool for discerning truth. It is a tool for allowing people to accept falsehoods.
Yeah.
That it can be used for anything to justify anything. And that the consequence of this, which we famously learned from Voltaire, is that when you can get people to believe absurdities, you can get them to commit atrocities.
Yeah.
That is the thing. If you're fine and you love Jesus, and otherwise you're a perfectly reasonable person who encourages government neutrality, secular values, fairness, and doesn't try and impose upon the rights and freedoms of other people, fine. Yeah. God love you.
Yeah, but ultimately, Brandon, the problem that I kept having was when I asked you, okay, give a reason, explain why you believe these things instead of just cataloging what you did believe. And I understand you were trying to marshal your thoughts and everything. We never really got an answer from you above and beyond a rather verbose, long-winded explanation that you believe this stuff basically because you wanted to.
So yeah, feel free to call back. Put in an email if you want. I'd be happy to talk to you.
That seemed to me like your reason. It's just this is what you preferred to believe because it made you feel better about lots of stuff in your life.
But we're down to just like 2 minutes left.
And we've got all these guys been waiting, and we're so sorry.